Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Conor here. We are back with another video. If you haven't checked out all the videos from yesterday, make sure you do so. We did a debrief. We also did a instant match reaction. We've also done a live watch along, which genuinely, if you scrub through that, you'll have a right laugh if you've got about 10 minutes of your day free today. And we're back here discussing the three things that we learned after last night. What we're going to be doing, everybody, as well, is we're going to be heading on over to the Patreon and doing a little bit more analysis after this. But as you can see on screen now, make sure you are downloading SofaScore, everybody, the analysis. Everything I try to bring to you guys when I'm going through a game, I look on SofaScore to get all that analysis, and you can get hidden benefits and all that good stuff if you hit the One Leeds link in the description below. Keep getting your comments in. Shout out to everybody. Morning, Conor. Hiya, David. Hope you're all good. Morning, Conor. I'm in a good mood today. Morning, Derek. What a wonderful morning it is, Callum. Morning, Conor. Are we going to see more dancing in the future? Yeah, if you guys missed the watch along, it was it was a funny one last night. Really enjoyed it. Lofts in the building. Hi, Lofts. Morning, Con lad. We're going to catch Leicester and finish top. I can feel it. Yeah, man. I think let's take one step at a time, shall we? Obviously, Southampton still with that game in hand over Leeds, which means technically they can still be a point above us in second spot. But listen, it's looking good, isn't it? It is looking good. So let's have a quick look at some of your comments. Morning, Conor, buzzing at the moment, says Rom. Hi, Rom. Danny's in the building. Hi, mate. James, don't you know? Pump it up. Ross says, hi, Conor. Message you on Instagram, buddy. I'll have a look after this, mate. I wasn't even bothered about watching footy last night. Glad I did. Cheered me up. Yeah, Leeds were just... I mean, I watched a lot of it back this morning. Like, luckily enough, we've had like the instant match highlights, but then we've also had the extended highlights, and there's nothing really like we can't go on too much and lips about everything. We were talking about everything last night. Every stone was sort of unturned last night when it came to the footballing style of things. But the three things is a show that I like to do to try and have a look back and see what I missed during the game. Obviously, you're in the moment with the watch-alongs and then afterwards with the post-match stuff. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you learn anything last night about that Leeds United team? Was there anything that piqued your interest? Let me know, everybody, because I'm really interested. I want this to be obviously an interactive thing. But what my first point is, Gruev is the best passer of the ball Leeds United have had in 20 years. In my opinion, I think when he's under pressure, I think left foot, right foot, he's able to... I think the utilisation of his right foot is more impressive than I thought it was. I was looking at his heat map this morning. But also, his selection of pass is absolutely exquisite. He knows how to, when and where to play that Hollywood pass. He will hold the pass, and he won't just speculatively play a pass when he knows a player is maybe marginally offside. He will wait and pick his moment. And that means that he's unpredictable. That means that the opposition can't really, when you're pressing on his touch, why are you pressing on his touch? Because he's not going to go long every time. You're not going to recover the ball in there. You might target a player who is going to go long every time to prevent that, or a player who's going to go long in certain sequences and play in the channels which you want to disrupt. Gruev, you don't know what he's going to do. And he has that pass selection in his arsenal, and I'm so impressed with him. I'm so impressed. I think it literally can be a 10-yard pass, which is crisp. It can be a drilled pass. It can be feathered. It can be a lofty ball. It can be a curved ball with a little bit of finesse. The guy is able to distribute a pass better than anybody I've seen in 2 decades, in 20 years. Me and Oscar were speaking about it last night. We're having a conversation about it, and we're throwing names out there, really. But Olivier Dacour is probably the person who I can last remember who had a pass selection and pass accuracy like he does. He doesn't seem to get much wrong. 97 pass accuracy, 99, 97, 96, 97, 98, 99. These are all over the past 7 to 8 games. So I'm so impressed with. I do think, James, when we're talking about Pablo, you've got to look at how many times who you've got to compare Gruev to is someone like Calvin Phillips, someone who is in these areas of the pitch consistently and is playing these balls and getting that percentile. Because Pablo Hernandez was a risk player, Pablo Hernandez a lot of the time would play a risky pass and it might not come off. A lot of the time we knew it did come off, but because he was a more risky player and he was a central attacking midfielder for Leeds United, you can't really compare him to Elia Gruev. Elia Gruev sitting back and passing those. He's using that selection and passing these accurate balls. The person who you compare him to probably is any sort of DM that we've had who's seen as a passer in the past however many years. Calvin's probably in the conversation. Some might throw Tyler Adams in there, although I thought he was never a great passer of the ball. Gruev's statistics at the minute are mind-blowing when it comes to his accuracy on the ball and his pass selection. You look at the pitch last night, I think his pass accuracy was something like 98%. And he's got Jay Fulton in front of him. He's got Matt Grimes in front of him, who were looking at it last night and they were trying to press on Leeds United. They were trying to press a little bit higher up. A lot of people said that was a mistake. But his variation in passing is exquisite, and he never gets it wrong. Never underhits a pass, never overhits a pass. If you can tell me one time where he's underhit a pass, fair play. I can't think of one time in his time at Leeds United when he's been part of this first team setup. I can't think of one time he's underhit a pass or overhit a pass, and I think that is absolutely insane when it comes to his standards. So yeah, Loftus, he's really good. Fair. Anthony says since who? Yeah, we were having a chat last night, Anthony. It's probably since Decor, I think. Morning, Conor. Our run is decent, similar to Ipswich, but the Saints and Baggies are more difficult. Barney Bear. Hi, Conor. I think our 20-game run is going to start now. Lots of the members are in the building as well. Guys, you can become a member, hitting the join button, description below. Your comments will get read out first. And you get a little emoji by your name as well. It's £2 a month. Make sure you do that. Better than Rocker. No. Why do we always talk about Rocker and Gruev as a comparison? I'm talking about pass accuracy. Didn't Kamara get 100% pass accuracy versus Rotherham? Yeah, Lofts, but I would argue when it comes to Kamara, I don't know why we're doing this. Leeds fans love to do this. Don't we compare our own players? Let's just bask in it. Let's bask in the quality of Elia Gruev. Kamara is a very sort of different style of player, but consistently, there's no way he's got the variation of pass and the accuracy when it comes to passing consistently like Gruev's got. It's very, very, very impressive. Hi, Conor, says Eric Westerman. Who in our squad are Premier League STD right now? I don't know, Eric. I try. I'm very cautionary when it comes to that, mate, because I don't want to make some bold claim when it is just completely inaccurate. We know the Prem is a very, very different standard. I'd say the ones that we've seen so far in the Premier League are the only reliable ones now because we've got evidence. So I'm probably looking at Somerville and Nonso, really, who've performed there. We'll have to wait and see on the others. Morning, Jay. How are you doing, mate? Let us know. New member Dave Carroll. Shout out to you, Dave. Shout out to you, my man. As I said, Dave's become part of the group. It's £2 a month, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as well. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there when it came to him. I just think he's excellent. He's a really, really top player. Mark says, love the show, Conor. We are in the race. The boys are pushing. We have a form team. Bring on to the next game. Love the shorts video. Yeah, check out all the content from last night, everyone. Well worth it. But yeah, tactically, he's got everything in his locker, and it's becoming really difficult now because I'm a massive fan of Pascal, and I've just said we don't want to compare. But Pascal's going to come back into the fold now. But let's have a conversation of just like the options that we have, the caliber that this side has, and the competition. The competition is mental. Whoever we put in there performs. Nonso, Gruev, Bamford, Firpo. Look at Nonso, Gruev, Bamford, Firpo. These are probably 4 examples of players that have come in with lack of minutes, and there's a lot of pressure on them. Leeds fans like myself and others will turn around and say, well, are they good enough? All of them at the start of the season. Gruev out the side. Why is he out the side so much? Clearly can't lace the boots of an Archie. Clearly can't lace the boots of a Glenn Kamara and Ampadu. This is why he's not got any minutes. Patrick Bamford, me, probably the biggest advocate of this. Nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. Let's be honest. We bought a striker in for 16 million quid, who we all think's a striker. And why on earth is Pat Bamford getting in front of him? No way. Firpo, injury prone, not dependable, not reliable, an average footballer. It's not happening. And look where they are now. Look where they are now. You know, Dan James, even you can throw in there. I know he's literally been playing, but it's been a bit sort of in and out for him in this period at Leeds United. But these players are just excelling in terms of the hunger that they have to play for Leeds United. And I'm so impressed with them, and I'm so happy. I think what's going on right now, the way that we've clawed it back as well. Ipswich, I know we've got 2 games in hand, but 6 points, it's big. You'd rather have points on the board. We know that when we had the Bielsa race with Sheffield United, points on the board is imperative. And I think our Leeds have clawed this back, 9 wins in 11, 7 wins on the bounce. And you look in there, you've got Bristol City, away win. You've got Cardiff, away. You've got Swansea, away. It's going to be another difficult one. You'd argue that Plymouth are maybe a tougher team. And we've played them 3 times, haven't we? It's not been easy. But they're probably a tougher side than Swansea. But now we've got all that data downloaded now. You know, all that football knowledge should be in the Leeds in Leeds United's hands when it comes to Plymouth Argyle. And it has been tough. You know, we only beat them in extra time. We did beat them in extra time, but in normal time it's 1-1, isn't it? So it's going to be a tough assignment. But it can't stop. 7 wins on the bounce needs to be 8 wins on the bounce. 9 wins in 11 needs to be 10 wins in 12. This needs to increase, and Leeds United just simply have to keep going with this. They really do, because it's excellent at the minute. Dave, brand new member. Hi, Dave. Personally, Conor, I don't think Struijk can come back in, mate. Since he's been out, we've had 7 clean sheets, and now Ampadu and Rodon look so solid. Gruev and Conor have to stay on the side also. What I will say, Dave, is it's becoming harder and harder and harder for me to turn around and say, Pascal comes back into the side. I genuinely believe, this is hand on heart, Ampadu would not be out the side for me. There's no chance he comes out the side for me. But I saw a really good performance from Glenn Kamara last night. And it made me think what Glenn can do. You know, he's so different to what we have with Ampadu, Gruev and Archie. And that's the beauty about a lot of them. You know, Ampadu and Gruev are probably quite similar. Although I'd say Gruev is the better distributor. But overall, they're all very, very different when it comes to their midfield attributes. But it's becoming very, very difficult for me to turn around and say, Glenn comes out the side and Ampadu goes back into the middle. Because then we're trialing and erroring something again. You know, it's one of those things where it's Gruev and Ampadu. We've had so many instances this season where we've trialed and errored and it's worked. Whether it be Nonso, whether it be Ampadu at the back, whether it be Bamford instead of Perot. Right now, with how this 2024 has gone so far, with 1 goal conceded between Rodon and Ampadu, it's proving very difficult for me to turn around and say Ampadu comes out of that centre-back role. What I will say is I genuinely believe, hand on heart, if Struijk was in the side, we would still be on this same trajectory. I think he's a victim of the results, Struijk, with, you know, West Brom and Preston. He's a victim of that. You know, some Leeds fans think he's not now nowhere near as good as Ampadu at the back because he was part of that. You know, forgetting that all the other Leeds players, the other 10 that were in the squad, were also part of that. They just weren't unfortunate enough to be injured. And now he's been out whilst on the side and winning every single game. But there is a question of relationship. There is a question of synergy, a question of partnership when it comes to Joe Rodon and Ethan Ampadu. Is there a better understanding there? You know, we look at attributes when it comes to Pascal Struijk. A lot of people forget he scored 6 goals for Leeds before he left. We're not that threatening from set pieces anymore. Pascal did give us that, you know? So it's a case, isn't it? When players are out of the side and you're losing, those players are out the side of the best players in the world. You know, when you're winning and players are out of the side and they're injured, they're forgotten about. So, listen, I am very much of the opinion that I understand what people are saying. Ampadu has main at the back. And in all fairness, ability-wise, I'd put Struijk back in. I would. I love Pascal Struijk. I think he brings so much to this side. But right now, form-wise, how can he take Ethan out the back? How can you change the team? How can you change the team? You can't. With every successful team, there's been minimal changes. Daniel Farke's 2 Norwich promotions, barely any changes. We look at that first promotion. That 11, we knew exactly who was in there. Aarons, Lewis, Zimmerman, Godfrey, Vrancic, Tommy Tribal, Onel Hernandez, Todd Cantwell, Emi Buendia, Timu Puki. It picked itself. And now this Leeds United side, it picks itself. Eli Mele, Archie Gray, Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu, Junior Firpo, Glenn Kamara, Elia Gruev, Somerville, Rutter, Nonto, Bamford. Yeah, it picks itself. And that consistency is something that every successful club has. Simon says, are you worried about injuries going into the end of the season, or do we think they'll have that? There's one player, Simon, and this is what I want to wrap into. I want to wrap into the second thing that I am learning so far, and something I mentioned last night on the debrief. Junior Firpo's massive. He's absolutely massive. And let me tell you why. When you are playing as part of a back four and you have a balance of a left-sided left back and a right-sided right back, it makes a world of difference. And I don't want to go on the I told you so stuff, but this is something I've been saying for 5 years when it's come to Leeds. I've been saying it since Charlie Taylor left Leeds United. The left back position is massive. And if we go to the Premier League, left back, literally, they need to invest 100% in a top left back who's dependable, reliable, and quality. Junior Firpo is the biggest piece in this puzzle at the minute, in my opinion. I think the balance that he provides enables Leeds to build up in transition a lot quicker. Let me give you a little bit of a comparison with Sam Byram, okay? If Sam Byram, let me just give you a physical representation, right? If I'm excuse the attire, if I'm receiving the ball, right, on this side, the ball comes in as if you're a right-sided left back, and naturally Sam Byram has to cut inside on his strongest side. He can't open his body and move out. He can't do it, right? So ball's played to for me, Ethan Ampadu closes his body off because his left foot is weaker. His left side is weaker. So naturally, he's going to overcompensate for that by being on his strongest side, moving inside, inverting, and trying to put that ball across the Crysencio Somerville. The problem is, what's going to happen is as soon as Sam Byram makes that press, the opposition team are going to press high on his touch, either from that wide side or centrally. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on him to go inside instead of outside. Okay? So you probably never had that from a YouTuber, but that is exactly the problem. And some people fail to understand that. The problem with Byram is he will take 4 or 5 touches when Junior Firpo needs 2. And Junior Firpo needs 2 because he's a right footer. Stuart Dallas used to have it all the time. I was never comfortable. I loved Stu, but I was never comfortable with him being left back. He overperformed. But I liked Stuart much better when he was in central midfield. You know, when he got 8 goals in the Premier League. There's absolutely no way we are better with Sam Byram at that left back slot. Everybody loves Sam. Fair enough. That's okay. Great. But at the end of the day, Firpo right now is massive. He's absolutely massive in the build-up. His press, I think, is better than Sam Byram's. I think he's touch tight, but it's working a lot. And I think that's because him and Somerville are working together. There's a press from Firpo from the back on the player, and then Somerville's just on his touch in front. And Somerville's an excellent presser. On that left-hand side, we are getting a lot of success when it comes to pressing teams higher, but also in build-up. And that's because Firpo is more balanced. He's able to offer an open stance on the ball, on that left-hand side, and it varies up. He can cut inside. He can go outside. There's variation in his play as a left-back. Sam Byram, there's one way of playing. He has to cut inside because he's weak on that left-hand side. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Conor doing the hokey cokey. I get your point, Conor, but unless something goes drastically wrong at the back, then we shouldn't change anything. Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with you, mate. Love the corgi calendar, Conor. It's not mine, mate. It's not mine. Kamara, or maybe I should just say it's mine. Kamara is the engine in the middle who wins the ball back, holds it so well, and does the rollbacks and turns away to get away from the press. Yeah, definitely. Keep getting your comments in, everybody. Loving the explanation, showing us Conor, good lad. It gets so frustrating because a lot of people just don't like. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying when you've played the game, If you're a right footer or a left footer and you go to the weaker side, you're going to be weaker. It's really football 101. So yeah, I think Byram's naturally difficult. Byram will probably get fewer minutes in the Prem if we keep him. I mean, to be honest, mate, I wouldn't be offering him a new deal whatsoever. You just go out and get another one, don't you? Firpo is okay until he has to defend. Can't change that back four. Need Bamford in the system. They were open and played into our hands. We were superb last night. Yeah, and listen, we played a Swansea team last night who I have a lot of respect for them. I have a hell of a lot of respect for them. Because do you know what Swansea are? They're a team who likes to play football. And listen, it got them a lot of success at the weekend. They beat Hull City, which is we couldn't do it away from home. It's a very, very good result. But ultimately, when you're playing football against this Leeds side, you're going to get picked off. You're going to get battered. And we've seen it this season. More recently, we've seen it with Ipswich. Ipswich have tried to play football against us and they've conceded 8 goals. You can't play football against us. You really can't. But there's a lot of people talking about Southampton, and Southampton was a really good example when it came to them pressing high against us at St Mary's. With the back line that we had on that day, we had a Cooper and Byram left side. They were absolutely pressing them into oblivion, and they couldn't deal with it. Yeah, when you've got players who are press resistant, you've got Firpo who can move forward with the ball and get rid of it with an open body stance, so there's a little bit of variation in what he can do. And then you've got an Ethan Ampadu, who technically on the ball is much better than a Liam Cooper. Listen, it's going to be much better for you, isn't it? It's going to be much better. The squad makeup that day was difficult, but they were getting pressed. Stoke City were getting pressed, but you got players at the back, in my opinion, in someone like Sam Byram who can't really deal with it. He has to get out of jail by players in and around him being better on the ball and being able to move forward with the ball. Someone like Junior Philp, I think, is better on the ball. We all know his defending's not great, but at this moment in time, he's faced some good wingers, everybody. He's faced Jonathan Rowe. He's faced Morgan Whittaker. He's going to be facing Morgan Whittaker again. These are top wingers in this division. Morgan Whittaker's got 14 goals. Johnny Rowe's got 14 goals. They were quiet against Leeds. And you've got to put a little bit of credit there down to Junior Firpo, I think. West Brom versus Southampton analysis, Conor. I'd hold our I think as Leeds fans, what we have to get on board with is that it's gone well for us, but let's not just think right now that Southampton are going to drop off a cliff. When you've got David Brooks, when you've got Rothwell, when you've got Armstrong, when you've got Stuart Armstrong, when you've got Bednarek, when you've got Walker Peters, this side in this division isn't just going to fall off. But I tell you what, my prediction at the start of the season was that it was Southampton were probably going to win the division. But at that point, Russell Martin wasn't the manager. I really rate Martin as a manager. But overall, we're going to see what they're made of now. We're going to see what they're made of now. We really are. I keep saying this, but we said on the channel that on the 13th of Feb, I mean, let's have a quick look at the fixtures now, and I'll just shout these out to you guys. But Southampton's fixtures, and this is interesting. I'm just looking at SofaScore now, everyone. We can look in the description below. To download that one. But if we're just looking at their fixtures now that they've played. So Sheffield Wednesday at home, which is, it's so embarrassing that we didn't beat them early on in the season, but there we go, it's a win. They beat Swansea away like we did last night. Drew against Watford away in the cup. Beat Rotherham away. Beat Watford again in the cup in that replay. Scraped through, really, against Huddersfield, and they've beaten Bristol City. Recently, they've marginally beaten Plymouth, and they've drawn to Norwich City as well, and drawn to Coventry, and drawn to Watford. So, listen, they have been unbeaten, of course they are, but they're not as good as, it's the form that's the scary thing. When you see 20, 21, 22 unbeaten, you think, wow. But football changes, doesn't it? Football changes, and it humbles people. It humbles us as football fans. And as football fans, we're all fickle. But now you're looking at a Leeds team who, we're talking about Southampton and however many unbeaten. We've won 7 games on the bounce. When are we going to talk about Leeds being a massive force here? We were out of it. Out of the picture, FC. And I personally thought it was going to be difficult for us to chase the top 2. I think I said on a video, it's not going to happen. But it almost feels like, and there were several of these moments under Bielsa, Nottingham Forest being a key one, and then obviously went to Brentford and drew, didn't we? It almost feels like that West Brom moment was big for Leeds, and the Preston and the Christmas calendar was massive for the Whites. We almost needed that to really kick us into gear, and it has done. It really, really has done. You know, now we're looking at a situation where before Christmas, Dan James and Pascal Struijk were big features, and probably two of our better players, if we're being brutally honest with you. If you just said who have been Leeds' best players, you'd have probably said Ampadu, Kamara, Struijk, Somerville, and I mean, we had probably 5 or 6, didn't we? Rutter would be up there as well, but you'd definitely be talking about Dan James and Struijk. Did they even get back in now? You know, I told you all about Willie Nonso. I'm doing the I told you so thing again as well. Like, and this is what I mean with football being fickle. You know, we're all fickle, aren't we? But, you know, Nonso's not as good as Dan James. Of course he's as good as Dan James, everybody. Come on. Let's be realistic. Technically, as we've mentioned him numerous times, he's better than Dan James. Dan James has been brilliant for Leeds. 11 goals to January, you know, when he was injured in January. He's going to come back in and probably get another 11. But as a technical footballer, Willie Nonso is able to do things I don't think Dan James can do. Dan James has been excellent when it's come to his development as a footballer, and I didn't believe he could do that. And this is no disrespect to Dan whatsoever, by the way. Let me just say that. But Willie Nonso is just excellent. He really is excellent. It's great to see him at this moment in time and doing what he's doing. Conor wanting the assistant manager's job with Brownie. He wouldn't pay me enough, mate. Wouldn't pay me enough. Nonso is a far better player than James. But let's not kick Dan James out now, everybody. Let's not be saying, oh well, because this is what we do, isn't it? It's like Nonso goes out, Dan James is miles better than him anyway. Ampadu comes in, Pascal Struijk, Struik's crap anyway. He doesn't get in front of Ampadu. Perot's out, you know, and obviously I've been a bit of a critical body when it comes to Joel Perot, but I've never once said we don't need him anymore. Bamford's in there. It does feel like that happens with Leeds fans sometimes. But let's get into a couple of your comments. Nonso is the best player inside if he's in form. Yeah, and let's talk about Crysencio Somerville as well. We have to talk about him and Rutter. They are just you can probably chuck Dewsbury Hall in there. Fatawu's playing well at the minute at Leicester. But no, and I mean, I'm looking at Southampton side. I like Sekumara a lot, to be honest. Obviously, that's the player Leeds nearly got in the Prem. But technically, there's no one better, in my opinion, than Rutter. Somerville's close. Keenan Dewsbury Hall's a different player, but I really like Keenan Dewsbury Hall. But if we're talking about the best overall player in the Championship, we've got to be talking about Rutter and Somerville as the top two. They're just absolutely exquisite. And, you know, I'm going to sneeze, hold on. Excuse me. But if we're talking about, you know, Leeds going up this season, those two just have to remain fit. They just have to remain fit. They're absolutely brilliant. And we're just seeing the ball carrying ability. Sometimes I'm urging Rutter to not do the complicated thing, but he's still been absolutely brilliant this season. I've been so impressed by him. We're all West Brom fans on Friday night. Come on, the baggies. Yeah, but like I've said, look, we all know, listen, they've got the tough away games now, so we'll see how they cope with that. Listen, West Brom are going to be the underdogs. We all know that. And it's on Southampton, really. It is. We've not seen any big wins from Southampton, really, away from home. I think recently the biggest one's probably been, by memory, I think it's been but the Swansea. I'm just having a quick look through now. Big away wins. Tell you what, everyone, there has not been any big away wins whatsoever this season. There hasn't. So they are winning away games. If we go through some of their away games here, 2-0, 2-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0, 2-2, 1-1. Look, this is a team who are not like prolific away from home. They're not. So West Brom's probably, I'd say, the top 3 toughest grounds to go to at this moment in time. This ain't going to be easy. West Brom have just beaten Cardiff last night in a good win. They're hunting down as well. They'll be thinking to themselves, let's see how far we can get to Ipswich. Let's see if we can close them down as well. So West Brom's a big game. We know Colbrand tactically is really good, but they'll be difficult to break down. But let's not, we're all baggies on Friday night, of course we are, but let's not get into this false sense of security that this team is done. It's a very, very good team. So it's going to be a battle towards the end, and that game at the end of the season, Leeds United against Southampton, it's going to be absolutely massive, isn't it? Can we talk about over a year ago, I was complaining about getting Summerfield number 10. Yeah, exactly, mate. Don't know about Conor, but I wouldn't rest anybody when there's best part of a week to the Leicester game after the next game. Last night's game itself can't take as much. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. And let's go into this game and just be aggressive. You're looking at in that extra time against Plymouth, just battered them, absolutely battered them. But in the first 90, it was obviously Leeds were on top, but it was the ruthlessness, wasn't it? I feel bad saying this after such a big win, but another thing we've learned is we just can't lose at the minute. We can't drop points because we don't want it to. Wouldn't it be great if Leeds, listen, in an ideal world, we just grapple hold of that top 2 and we just keep going? Because I think, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if Leeds just keep winning now, I think Southampton are going to drop numerous points, but we have to just keep up that winning streak. And I know that sounds really simple, and I'm simplifying everything there, but dropping points right now is just not on the agenda because we don't want them to get any momentum. Plymouth is going to be really tough. And if we go in a period of time, when we saw that social media post where it was like 1,500 miles in however many days because the EFL have absolutely battered us when it comes to a fixture list away. We're now looking at Cardiff, Bristol City, Swansea, and Plymouth Argyle. All games that we should be winning, and we win them all. That is massive. Not just because of the calibre of the team, plural, that we're playing, but you look at the distance covered in such a short amount of time and where the depth has been tested. And we look at every position now. Let's look at every position. Most positions. Archie Gray goes out. Conor Roberts comes in. Saying this the other day, even Ethan Ampadu goes out. You've got Liam Cooper there. And I know it's not ideal, but Liam Cooper, the captain of the club, comes in. He's a substitute. Right-hand side, Joe Rodon goes out. Please never happen, ever. Craxwell comes in. When Struik's back, he comes back in. Then you look at that left-hand side. It's probably the weakest, really. But Sam Byram, if he's fit, comes in, who probably gets in a lot of championship sides. The midfield complexion, it's a toss-up between Gruev, Archie, Ampadu, Kamara. And then that front four, you've got Bamford, Perot, Nonso, Somerville, Gelhardt, Joseph. It's full. It's absolutely Rutter. It's full of quality. Jaden Anthony. So it's like when the rotation is tested, it's still working. It really is. Mally, I should say. Hi, Mally. Good morning. Really happy with this Leeds team right now. I'm proud to be Leeds. Shout out to you, Mally. Thanks for the donation, my friend. Yeah, and I agree with you. It was great last night. The fans were in full voice, and it was absolutely excellent, wasn't it? Lappers, Conor, are you in Plymouth on Saturday? I'm not, unfortunately, mate, but I will be. I will hopefully be going to the Leicester game, touch wood, which will be an absolute blockbuster. We all know that Leicester's going to be the biggest test for Leeds this season again. Mark says, all this is down to Farke. Did any other manager have a summer like us and a new club for the manager? Yeah, Mark, I know you've been a big advocate of Farke from day one, really. I had a few questions about him at the start. I'm not going to double down on that. But overall, the caliber of someone like him coming into this club when he's got 2 wins, the 2 championship wins. I think a lot of it's his management. But I also think let's not boil away from the fact, Mark, that this is one of the best sides, in my opinion, that has ever been relegated from the Premier League. Ever. The quality is. When in a scenario do you ever get a player in Crescentia Somerville who 25 million was offered by Burnley in the summer? Nonso was supposed to be going for 30 million quid. Dortmund were looking at offering 30 million quid for Rutter. Sinisterra at the beginning as well. You know, the money that was being touted around for him. It's this Leeds United side, in my opinion, is just gold dust. You've got Ethan Ampadu, who we bought for £7 million. Well, it's just a joke. It's an absolute joke that he's even playing in the Championship, you know? So across this pitch, we had Real Betis in for Junior Firpo. It's the calibre of the side is very, very, very good. And you've got to give massive kudos to Farke. But I do think it is a merge of him at the minute and this quality that we have on the pitch. So yeah, it's, you know, we have got to obviously include that as well. New member of the channel. Welcome, Kev. Kevin Draper has become part of the YouTube membership stream. We've also got a couple more Patreon members, everybody. So please make sure you're heading on over there. I am heading there after this to do a video, and we will have an in-person Generation Leeds and another The General as well coming this week, which I'm very excited for. Louis says, Conor, what do you think is Ampadu's best position? I think it's centre mid, mate. I do. Look, I know it's amazing what we're seeing right now, and I get it. I understand. So the reason we're looking at this right now is because of the run of form, but I don't think the run of form is just solely down to Ethan Ampadu. There's an argument that the back line haven't really had that much to do. They've done brilliantly, of course they have, but they've not really had that much to do since Pascal's been out. There's not been a barrage. Norwich looked decent, but they didn't really do anything. So yeah, a lot of that is down to the defence, of course it is. But yeah, I prefer. I mean, let's not forget about how good Ethan Ampadu was in that DM position. We're all talking about him being the best midfielder in the Championship beforehand. I think we fly back today, full training tomorrow, fly back down Friday. Jonesy says, happy Valentine's Day, you beautiful dancing buggy you. Mark Bradley's come in choosing violence today. Fair enough, Mark. I didn't see many Farke haters. Did there any Leeds fans... Have there been haters through this campaign? I don't think there has been haters. I think there's been people who've questioned certain things when it comes to substitutions and stuff like that. But I don't think it's been haters. I think that's a bit extreme. The team has grown a lot since the Leicester game, so I'm confident, especially if Leicester are still playing Let's one forward and we'll go back and pass it around the back for the eternity. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Right, guys, we're going to leave it there. As I say, we've got a little bit of bonus content on the Patreon now. If you want to head on over, we'll be over there doing a bit of player ratings and going through a little bit more when it comes to the game. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Please, if you want to join the memberships, do so in the description below. You can become a YouTube member even after this video. Just hit the join button. You can donate to the channel via the thanks button as well. And make sure you download SofaScore as well, everybody. Your cutting-edge analysis and the first updated score you will get on your phone if downloaded above LiveScore and the BBC and Flash Score. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Leeds are in the top 2. Have a good day. Have a good Valentine's Day. Hope you all get lucky, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.